Welcome
to another episode
of Driving to the Res
with
Larry
and Inelia. Yay! Again today we're recording our Driving to the Res at the Shaman Shack.
We call these Shaman Shack Chronicles.
Oh, sorry. I thought the Shaman Shack Chronicles were going to be longer and more in depth, and we were going to put a Patreon on so that to have the second and third hours. There's Phoebe at the door.
And I think we were going to have guests once in a while.
Yeah, some guests once in a while. We have a list of people that we find very interesting that we want to talk to. And hopefully we can invite them and they'll say yes to our invitation and have really cool conversations with them.
Yeah, like we just heard one from someone I would never expect to be doing interviews.
David Icke.
Did an interview.
He did interview somebody
Dr.
else.
Cowan.
Yeah.
Two people that we really enjoy listening to. And it was fantastic.
It was really good. It was really good. So there were some comments about some individuals. We mentioned that we wanted to interview David Icke in the future of our podcast, and we actually do have a confirmation for December.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. However, we wanted to find out... so there was some sort of comments and stuff, individuals who don't resonate with his message that are part of Walk With Me Now and our podcast. So, yeah, some comments to the podcast as well. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that there hasn't ever been a time ever in existence that David Icke wasn't somewhat, I guess, controversial to someone. So, join the crowd.
That's true.
I mean, that seems to be his forte.
Yeah. There are some things that I am very interested in about him. My history with him started very early, I think in the early 90s. I thought it was the 80s, but apparently he wasn't around doing stuff on the 80s, so it must have been the 90s. And it was when I was in England. It could have been England or Ireland, I can't remember. But anyways, I turned on the television and there was this man on the television talking about what the reality of the universe was. And quite honestly, I started crying because it was the very first time that I'd heard somebody saying accurate statements about our world, the universe, and everything. I was so happy, you know?
Like, wow.
Crying with happiness. It's like, wow, man, that's fantastic. And I loved it. And I was so happy. And I started watching out for him and listening to when he was going to come on, like radio or television at the time. And then there was this, he went off to Peru or somewhere and he had a experiential existence type experience.
One of those go to the jungle and find yourself.
Yeah, one of those. And when he came back, I noticed when I was looking at him in whatever show it was, that he wasn't quite put together again as a person. Like his ego structure and everything was smashed, right? Like can happen when you have an expansion of awareness that includes the entire universe. Coming back can take time. And he tried to translate what he felt, experienced, and knew into human. And he didn't do a good job of it. He started using things like Godhead and stuff like that. It was accurate, but it wasn't well received, or the translation wasn't right. And I thought, oh my gosh, he
probably was a bit scattered too. I mean,
he was his identity was crushed.
To talk to talk him back down.
And I remember thinking, oh man, I hope he can put himself together soon because his message is pretty important. But I didn't have much hope of that happening. So, and then, of course, the media grabbed him and destroyed him in the UK, like completely destroyed him. And he persevered, and I thought that was amazing. He didn't even try to defend himself. He just carried on giving his message, It was really amazing. And for that, I have always loved him. I have always loved him from the fact of it doesn't matter whether he was right or wrong. He had a message, he had something to share, and he didn't matter how much they attacked him. he didn't even respond with attack or defense, nothing. He just carried on.
He didn't shy away.
No, and to me that was amazing. And then the stuff that he's told later, you know, for a while he was very infused with the victim-aggressor stuff, and even today. But every now and then, you know, in interviews and things, he will talk a little bit about what really interests him. And it's about the expansion of awareness. It's about the true nature of ourselves as souls and bodies and the planet and everything. But very rarely will an interviewer expand on those topics. They just want to know about the queen being a
the
reptilian,
queen being a reptile, who's out to get us.
And the victim-aggressor stuff.
Victim-aggressor, that's what people want to hear about.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I
not
know
everyone.
I know he has more. I know he has more. And I want to ask for to be able to be an opportunity for him to expand more on those topics and also expand more on what awakened individuals who are no longer in the victim-aggressor cycle can do right now, because he's a very wise elder. He's an extremely wise elder. Yeah, everybody on the planet has programs and shit, you know, but he's not the type of person that I would throw away with the bathwater, right? I wouldn't throw the baby away with the bathwater with him, because his integrity, his core self, is incorruptible.
And when he finds new information, he doesn't say, I'm going to stick with the old.
No, he doesn't. He thinks
attached.
about it, right.
Right. He's
He will
willing to
think
look
about
at it,
look at
think
it.
about it, truth it.
Yeah.
And if he finds it
good,
he'll share it.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing that will stop him from sharing it.
Right. And he's one of the few individuals out there, this world of alternative media and things, who, as far as I know, hasn't been seduced into, you know, corruption, sexual corruption or financial corruption, or any of those things, which is refreshing to see to me. You know, it's like, but yeah, I think, you know, no matter what he does, it's like, I really like him. he's
an interesting fella, and it's not the word isn't afraid. He will go wherever there will be people.
Yeah.
He doesn't care if it's the swamp. He doesn't care if it's the bar.
Right.
He doesn't care if it's Shangri-La on top of a mountaintop. Yeah. He's going where there's people. Right. That's his thing. His special superpower, I guess you call it.
It is a very, very strong
So if you find him a place, you might think, geez, what the heck would you do there? He's not there for that place.
No, he's there to reach the people that are in that place.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. I mean, he's had more interviews at the BBC and everything. It's like, come on.
That was funny too. It's just a recent one I'd heard on one of the mainstream channels talking about him, and they describe him as a former football player. I mean, this is like how many freaking decades ago? How do you describe David Icke? Oh, he used to play football. That's what you describe him as?
Yeah, I know.
I don't think so.
Ridiculous, yeah. It's a paradigm thing, you know, what can you see, right? What do you see?
I know, but yes, he did play football a long time ago. Yeah, so you're technically accurate, but I think the last 40 years of what he's been doing might be more descriptive.
I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah.
That's quite funny, though.
So, yeah, we're, you know, working there. We're working on expanding the podcast, and we do have him booked. Hopefully he won't change his mind. It'll be interesting. And there's other people that I would really like to talk to, like the Cohen boy, you know, the doctor.
Dr. Cohen, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him too.
I think so too, because I think he has more to say.
I think so, yeah.
And I don't know if he's in the right environment. Maybe he will say more about what he has to say. Because I keep hearing him stop himself.
He does stop
himself. I can feel him energetic. Yeah. He has so much past where he's shared.
Yeah. In a way, very similar, isn't it? I mean, they tap into certain things that they would like to expand on.
Yep.
But then whomever they're with or the conversation they're having just doesn't allow for that.
Yeah, it doesn't allow it to move past where it is.
Exactly. So it would be nice to move more, you know, push the envelope and see what else they have, all these wisdoms. We have very interesting elders on the planet, you know. RD6 Killer is another person I would like to bring in.
Oh, yes, RD6 Killer, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how to get to her, but I really want
I'm pretty sure I could just message her on Facebook.
Yeah, probably. And with a podcast call, Driving to the Rest, I think she'll probably talk to us.
Invite.
Yeah.
She would love it.
Yeah.
Her collection of stories so far, right now I'm reading a collection of about 5 or 6 or 7 stories, UFO encounter stories. Not one of them comes anywhere near the stories Artie has collected.
I know.
Not even.
Oh, the last 6 you're reading is from somebody else, right?
Right.
Yeah. Nowhere near. She's a really good. She's got thousands of stories. So she's got good picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other person, there's a couple more people that we talked about before in the podcast that we want to talk to.
ET101 girl.
Oh yes, the ET101.
She actually, after we talked about it in our podcast, she actually friended me.
That is fantastic. So
she
we
only
probably
has
can
6 friends. So
we can probably get her.
it's either I think
pretend her.
Or it might be like that queen princess
something
Anne or Victoria, or one of the princesses friended me also.
And she wasn't quite the princess.
She wasn't actually the princess. No. It turns out.
Some people pretend to be other people.
This one I'm pretty sure is her though, because she interacted and she had a few answers to questions, and her birthday would happen and things like that. So I'm pretty sure it's her, and I
think we can get her. Yeah.
I think we can. Yeah.
Anyways, for this week, one of the things we wanted to talk about this week was some of the questions that you sent in through the podcast page. And thank you for those questions. They're really, really good. And I thought we could actually read them out. There's two of them that are really, really fascinating. There's some others that have been answered directly. So here's number 1.
Okay.
Dear Inelia and Larry, last podcast was breathtaking for me, as I had the same experience as Larry described last Sunday, almost to the point, never ever before.
Wow, me too. It's like never ever before.
Yeah, we should talk about that a little bit more too. I have been following you, Inelia, for a couple of years now. Bought many of your recordings and exercises. One of the last I purchased was the New Paradigm Entry Rules and Regulations. And I started to do the Gaia exercise for some days, dealing with difficult situations in my life. In this hectic time, I was driving to see my parents when a deer hit from the side.
Yeah,
and as Larry, I hesitated to stop, but I did. I still am devastated by that I heard, although not on purpose, such a life, and asking myself if somehow Gaia sent this negative experience when I tried to connect with her deeply. But listening to you, Larry, maybe it has more positive meaning after all. Need to figure it out. What would you be your thoughts? Plus a question about Walk With Me Now. I'm a lone wolf, very introvert. Do you think I would benefit from a membership? If yes, then why? So...
That's interesting. Well, part of it's interesting too, because in particular this morning we had a little brides and grooms chat, brides and grooms of Gaia, once a month, second Saturday, something like that. Mm-hmm. We gather for an hour or two, chat, and we were talking about some of these topics and the lone wolf thing. And what I found extraordinary, honestly, was that all of the brides and grooms are basically
lone wolves. And the majority of Walk With Me Now members are actually lone wolves. Yeah.
Yes, we have a Walk With Me Now person who actually came to the Shaman Shack to help out about and join his tribe. Yeah. He's a lone wolf.
Yes, I think he's been there for quite a long time now.
Yes, yeah.
But I think he might have posted twice on the forum.
Right. Yeah. But the whole process of connecting, the little bit that I've been able to talk with him, nothing, personal or anything. It's just the amount of shift in his life from solely lone wolf and the people who managed to, I guess I would say, break through and interact with him, and the ones that he's chosen with Walk With Me Now, there are a massive difference in the reality he's experiencing because of the connection. The other lone wolves, I suppose, the connections that he's chosen to make consciously. Yeah. Some of the other connections, that we carry into our life are those, I'm not going to say unconscious connections, but they're, connections that we made for maybe reasons that we didn't...
we're not conscious of
at the time. Maybe that we were in our savior part of our life for a time. Maybe we were in our victim aggressor stuff. Maybe we didn't even know enough to be more specific about our
Right.
So these ones we keep because we're told that these are the ones we need to keep, and then the ones we choose, they also have an impact. And so
they do.
So the reason that you would join Walk With Me Now, in my mind, was and is solely to experience life having chosen high-frequency people to engage with more time with high-frequency people.
Right.
Which isn't to say you're surrounded by low-frequency people, and that's not what I'm saying.
No.
But not everyone spends and focuses their attention on their high-frequency reality every day, right? Not a lot, not tons and tons of people.
Right.
But in Walk With Me Now, you will find people who do that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's supported. Our strength is your strength is our strength.
Right.
And we do have a lot of introverted people who will do their weekly exercises, who will read the forum, who will attend the monthly meeting or listen to the recording afterwards, and benefit from all the classes and courses, take some of the do the joint study groups and everything, and never say a word.
Never say a word.
They never put never answer anything on the forum.
That's how lone wolves they are.
Yeah, and they usually come in and they leave their camera off and their mic off and they listen to everything and then go away. So yeah, but are they benefiting? Absolutely. I've received personal messages saying, hey, I don't talk, I'm very introverted or whatever, but know that I'm here and I support everybody here and I'm part of this group and I feel very at home here. But don't think that, just because I don't talk that I'm not part of this.
Which is a funny thing, too, because, if you think about it, if there was ever a place that was more accepting of you would like to show up and listen and observe, that would be Walk With Me Now.
I know.
You're perfectly fine.
Yes.
That's totally acceptable. As a matter of fact, most of the time we'd like to do that ourselves.
Yes, we do.
But every now and then, like this morning with the B&Gs, it was like heartwarming. Because when we showed up and gathered, we hadn't been together or really engaged
with this group
for a month or 2 months.
I didn't know the meetings were carried on.
Yeah, the meetings were carrying on, but they weren't as, I guess, they weren't coming to attention.
Right, right.
Because you get the meeting, you get the notice 2 hours late or the next day or whatever. Anyway, this one, quite a few showed up, and it was like a reunion.
Going home, right?
There were tears. I was like so happy to be together, It's that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, like everything else, you don't, well, I can't say like everything else, because sometimes you walk into a place and say, oh my God, I'm home. Mm-hmm. And that happens.
That happens, yeah.
And sometimes we have the walls, the firewalls, the lone wolf over many lifetimes solidly put in place. And so it takes a year. Mm-hmm. And then we open our shell because we find that, it's okay
safe.
here.
Yeah, it's safe here.
Yeah, and you can take a year, you can take 2. Yep. There's no rush. Mm-hmm. So how do you, okay, so the other question had to do about the deer hitting the car, same as me.
Yeah, we should update everybody on...
So the thing with the deer hitting the car, right? You're driving along, you didn't see anything, and the deer ran into you. Basically, the deer jumped into your passenger seat, in a sense. Mm-hmm. And so the meaning of hitting a deer, the meaning of a deer jumping onto my car, the meaning of a deer saying something, the meaning of communication. So communication is all we're talking about in this case. Deers consider their lives less solidly important, the singular life, as a human does. A human's life is like been learned, trained. Human bodies feel that to preserve their life, they're going to do anything. My life is very, very, very important. Deer don't have that same grasp of it.
Right.
Their life has a different purpose, different animating energy, and different, experience of death. That would be reasonable to say?
I would say, and they haven't forgotten that they can re-emerge and express again in a new body, and they're still themselves. They haven't forgotten that.
They don't have that experience of
separation.
One life, and one life ends it.
Yeah,
their life is a string of life.
It is.
That's
continuous,
functional, like a sine wave.
Yeah.
Right. And so, for me to get your attention by smashing myself into the side of your car, that has a different meaning than a deer smashing himself into the side of your car.
Yeah. And one of the things that I found to be interesting to me was how I could feel the deer in our field, and he would call Larry out to go and sit with him.
Come sit with me.
And he would go, and he was looking out for you, and then, sleep on your lap and whatever. He was a baby.
Yeah, look in my eyes and put his hand and just have attention and focus and energy sharing between us, going back and forth.
Connection.
The connection.
Circuit. Yeah.
A circuit, absolutely a circuit. A circuit of connect to the
And the right decision was for him to get a new body because he had 2 broken legs, broken hip. One leg was completely not good. I mean, that wasn't ever going to come back. And yeah, so it's harsh, you know. And then your body's perfectly perfect. So
well, you kind of skipped to the end, honey.
I did.
Yeah. So I woke up in the morning and I went out and I checked on him. And the evening before, he drank a gallon of water and he'd gotten up and peed. And he was in pretty good spirits. And I covered him up in his hay because he loved to sleep in the hay, sort of like burrowed into leaves and a couple of branches, big evergreen branches, because we had a tree that fell in the front yard and it put branches everywhere. And the branches that, the tops of it, they're just like the perfect little hiding hole branches. So he got his little hidey hole branches and he went to bed. And when I woke up in the morning and I go check on him, I had this sense of, well, we're in the middle of rutting season. And in rutting season, that's when the deer are mating. And at the time of conception is that spark of light. Mm-hmm. And that spark of light is, in this case, just down the valley. Mm-hmm. There's a spark of light and the opportunity to jump into a brand new body right here, right now. And for him, he had spent a few days connecting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was an intimate, eye-to-eye. It was a very meaningful, impactful connection. Connect with the energy of the stag, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that connection was done, and it could continue. But the part of the process of this experience wasn't saving him or anything like that. It was being with him, being with that energy.
Right,
so that is the
connection.
The connection was that. Mm-hmm. Now in this case, he woke up in the morning, there's a body just over there that's going to stay in the neighborhood. That is a new mommy and a new daddy. It's just like slide over there. Mm-hmm. It was the same thing as getting up and walking over there, which he couldn't get up and walk.
Right.
So he just became there. I guess that would be the right way.
Yeah, he became there, yeah.
He became there. And now, one thing I haven't shared with Inelia or anybody else is that morning after I had put him in state, I basically went out there and I opened him from the hay and arranged him in a comfortable resting position and connected with where he had gone. When I got into the Suburban to go to the boat, an hour or two later, there was a rainbow right in front of me. I mean, it's a sunny day, it's not even raining, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a rainbow right in front of me as I come around the corner, and I'm only gone down the road about a half a mile or so, mm-hmm. and it turned into a double rainbow. Mm-hmm. And then normally when you see a nice rainbow and you drive toward it, it moves.
Yeah.
This rainbow stayed. As I got closer to it, it stayed there to the point where I got all the way to the rainbow.
Wow.
Have you ever I've never even heard of that.
No, I've never heard of that before.
And the rainbow had a double, and the double was right in the valley bottom, and then the valley bottom, the clear message of, here's where I am, I'm right here.
Aww,
so,
that's cute.
Yeah, it kind of made me tear up a little bit too, but he's still here. He's not gone. And the energy is still here, and he'll come visit us. I did take some pictures. Okay, honey, breathe. Remember what the shamans are supposed to be able to contain, like lots of energy.
Yes.
Okay, you can do it. That's not tears in my eyes.
Your eyes are just leaking, they're not.
It's dust, honey.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
So he's still here. And so if I was to say, in answer to the question, why would the deer run into your car? It's mostly exactly the same reason, because you're connected with us, which is connect with the energy. Mm-hmm. Connect with that energy, that stag. And that isn't a low frequency message. It's just the way that it could finally get through to you.
Right.
So use that clue to follow through. The synchronicities, your guides. We always, as we become more conscious, we become aware of the synchronicities in our lives. This is an irrefutable synchronicity that it happened to you, the same thing and you listen to the podcast. So follow the trail, follow where it leads you.
Yeah.
And it isn't a low frequency. It could be a bride and groom of Gaia contract. I would think that might be very likely.
Yeah.
If you haven't already signed that,
Take a look at it.
definitely investigate
Print it.
that.
Yeah. Sign it. Yep. So another interesting question, not from this individual, but I think it was posted. I can't remember where it was posted, but it was how can you tell, or would there be a possibility of this situation having been about the victim savior energy?
Oh yeah, the savior, savior.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you trying to play a savior game, so you're looking for
Right.
victims to go save, right?
Right. So victims materialize for you to save.
Right. I definitely considered that, and that was, in my mind, part of the pause of turning around even.
Right.
Because I wasn't going to engage in the victim game.
Right.
So if this was because you're a victim needing saving, that's not the game I'm going to play. But when I examined it, it didn't have that hook. And the reason I knew it didn't have that hook were a couple of things. A couple of things for me in this case were the actual day before, if not day and a half before, we had in a very done our angels and ancestors card and pulled the energy of the stag, and it was a meaning that was important. And I asked for the energy of the stag to come into my life, and the very next day that occurred. So that's not a savior victim thing.
Right. It's a
That
connection.
stag energy is not a victim thing. And when I turned around and made a choice to allow the energy in, and I saw that the deer was injured on the side of the road and wasn't able to leave on his own, so saving implies I'm going to take you and I'm going to fix you, and you're broken. And what I intended was I will support you in the decision that you make.
Right.
If you want to heal, I'll support that. If you want to move on, I will support that. But I'm not going to abandon you.
Right.
I'm going to allow in what I invited in. So that wasn't a savior.
I think that's a very good point and a very good distinction. The savior energy knows better than the higher self of the other person or being.
Yeah,
While-
what they want is irrelevant. Huh?
Well, that my strength is your strength and your strength is my strength, and the healing energies of Gaia is an allowance of a joyful moving forward in whatever decision that higher self takes. Right. So it's like a more supportive of one's decisions energy rather than patronizing or knowing better than, or the only solution here is that you live.
Yeah, well, it's the personification too, and that's the other thing. As a groom of Gaia, if you're unfamiliar with that, go to Brides and Grooms of Gaia. I think Guild of Gaia. Guildofgaia.com. You can see a copy of the contract. Within that contract, we've made a contractual agreement with Gaia, and it is a high frequency reality. So
Yes, yeah.
we can go from that that starting point, that the things that we are encountering should be a high frequency thing. We shouldn't be exposing or finding ourselves exposed to a low frequency reality through Gaia. That wouldn't be the input.
Right.
Gaia wouldn't input a low frequency reality.
Right. One of the things that not many people will think about when it comes to the deer, for example, in this situation, a savior energy would have also can manifest as somebody with a gun shooting the animal to put him out of his misery. Right? That would be the savior energy also, instead of allowing that animal to finish his cycle in a loving, caring, comfortable way. Right? And it doesn't matter how long it takes.
And to understand, also in this case, it wasn't a solitary, singular thing. The deer and I both had an agreement to make a connection. And I don't know about you, but I have, as a human being, programs.
Yes, you do.
And deer also have programs.
They do.
So to expect a
Connect.
deer to come lay down inside the chicken coop with me for a few hours for a week,
I don't think
it's
that's
not going to happen
happen
without some good story the deer can buy and I can buy.
Right,
so
right.
you know, you have to accept that reality comes through these stories.
Yes.
That will fit within your reality construct.
Yeah.
So
Believable stories is how manifestations and connections happen.
yeah, the deer are extremely willing, but still, you are a boy. I can't go lay down over there.
Right.
So think of it from the deer side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Hi, Inelia and Larry and Ilia. I would like to add a topic suggestion for Driving to the Rest podcast, thinking about the split. Me personally, I have already noticed at the beginning of this year when the pandemic started that there are two physical realities existing. The one where a dangerous virus exists and the governments are making measures to protect the people from it. And the other reality where I'm in, where there isn't any virus present, everything's okay. And I can only see here in the news about the other reality or see it from far, like through the glasses of a train. The glasses of a train to the other train standing beside each other in the train station. While one part of the people are horrified and completely sucked into the virus reality, etc. My reality is very calm, peaceful, in abundance, and I'm somehow not affected by the government measures. For example, I only had to put on a mask twice this year. Once 2 hours at the hairdresser's and one 20 minutes when I had a breakdown with my car. It's kind of weird to be aware of the two main realities, the split, and I would like you to talk about this phenomenon in more detail. There are other people living with me in the other reality where no virus exists, etc. But I wonder how there will be a complete physical split where we cannot see the other reality anymore, like the two trains are rolling and driving apart, each in its own way. Could you talk about this, please?
That's a very good question.
It is.
You know, it's kind of the one that we're all experiencing at the time, and you know, you have to appreciate that the other realities experiencing that, seeing us walking around crazy people,
Yeah.
breathing air and playing in the sun with each other, and they're applying their reality to what
To
we are
us,
doing,
yeah, projecting
and
their
we're
stuff.
also, in so many of us, projecting our reality on what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of how those realities dismiss. Because I'm going to ask you a question, honey.
Okay, ask me.
Tell me what's going on in the world of 4x4 diesel trucks with twin turbos.
Blah, 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 blah.
Do you know anybody who's in that world?
You, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have a 4-wheel drive twin
But you know
turbo
what it
diesel
means.
truck. Yeah, I know what it means. But
Okay.
if they had
I don't even know what it
TV
means. I don't
show-
even know you're in it.
So could you say that you're completely
invisible
unaware
to
of
me.
their reality?
Yeah, I didn't know
Whatever
that
they
existed.
even think of, or
I don't
whatever
know
they do on
I don't
Tuesday,
even know what it is.
whatever event they're having next month,
I don't know what it is.
if they're going to be on a rock pile next year,
What is a rock pile?
and what do you do with a truck on it?
Oh, there's something new. Okay.
So
There's something with
already
rocks
it exists,
and a truck.
right?
I
Separate
know
realities.
trucks. I know that trucks exist, and I know that diesel trucks don't use petrol.
Good enough.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. They
Basically,
use different fuel when you go to the gas pump. You put a different fuel in.
You're aware that they have a reality.
They
but
have, yes.
Their reality doesn't ever impact into yours, not one
No,
little bit.
one
You don't
little
even
bit.
know when they have a meet.
No.
Not even if they have a TV show on Motor Trend that we have a subscription to. that
Really? We have a subscription to
Yeah.
their world?
We do. And yet you
no idea.
still don't even know
No.
thing, not a dot about it.
Nothing.
So we already
haven't
are
watched it.
having that experience. Have we watched it?
I haven't watched it. I have watched it.
Yes, you have not watched it while it was going.
Oh, wow. What was I doing instead? I don't know.
Probably, writing a book or eating some salad or maybe having some chocolate. I don't know. Drinking some tea. Writing a page.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had another experience of reality consequently. So I guess the point is that it already is happening. And part of it is how much focus and attention do you put on the other guy's reality? Mm-hmm. When you
I do understand that, and it's something that I've taught for many, many years. That a person can walk through a city and see lots of crimes and everything and be the victim aggressor of one. And another person walks through the same city and nothing happens to them and they don't see it that way, right? It happens. Like that can happen. They're completely different realities. But what I think this question addresses, and it's something that I think many of us can identify with, is that negative reality of fear is highly impinging into our reality. Even if, like the other day, I mean, I even forgot all about the whole COVID mask stuff.
Yeah.
And then we went into town, and I remember we stopped at a store, and this person came out wearing a mask, and at first I was very confused. And then I remembered.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Then I remembered, and it was like, did it impinge a little bit, like, we're still in this stuff,
Yeah.
But it's a little bit like, so I want to explain something else, okay? So many times in the past few weeks, I've said, remember that the world is not crazier than it ever has been. The world is just as crazy, it's that now it's in your face. Now you can't ignore it. And I explained that when I was a child and I first learned about people having to go to work and pay mortgages and pay for food and water and electricity, power and all these things, I was like when you look at people all wearing masks and thinking there's a pandemic going on, it's like crazy. It was like psychosis, like crazy psychosis. And I couldn't understand and kept saying to people, wait, so you agree that you have to pay to live on this planet? That's crazy. Why would you do that? Right? And it's like, why is everybody thinking that this is normal? Why would anybody think that living on your own planet and having to pay for living on this planet is normal? And then I saw that the entire world was under this craziness, right? Crazy psychosis belief. And that's just one example. Like there was other examples, like really suffering. Are you kidding me? Why would you hold on to your pain on those stories from years back? Why would you do that? That's crazy. Right. Just drop them already, right? And they just couldn't. And I thought that was a madness. It was crazy. And eventually, as I got older, I learned to just not say it. It's like just carry on.
Carry on wearing masks, guys, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
paying for everything.
Yeah, and it says, okay, I'll pretend to be just as crazy.
I'll get a job. How's that?
Yeah.
Now you got.
I never was able to hold.
You never could do the job thing.
I could never do the job thing. I started my first business when I was 17, and from then I think I worked once in a magazine called Peace News that was based in Nottingham in England at the time, and then they got sold and moved to another city, so I stopped working for them. But that was it, I think. And at another time, a friend of mine asked me if I could help her out because her brother had just took over a restaurant in a beautiful hotel in Dublin, in Malahide actually, not Dublin, Malahide, Ireland. And it was Christmas time and he was short-staffed and they needed waitresses and waiters. And I said, I've never been a waiter. And she said, do you have a white skirt and a white blouse? And I said, yeah, I do. So just wear them. I'll pick you up at 11 p.m. and we'll go.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So I did. I helped her out and I was very good at it. I got massive tips. I didn't know that was even possible. But anyways, that's the only times that I worked for other people. And I think every other part of my life I've done my own thing. I've carried out my own business. Did contracting work for other people at times, but I couldn't do the working for other people thing. Oh, well. But anyways, it's just part of that that madness psychosis thing. It hasn't got worse. It's just more loud.
It's just visible to everyone.
It's very
not
visible.
Just you.
Yes, and it's like I just when like that, do energy exchange, use money, like, okay, I'll use money. It's part of this madness, I'll do it, and I've been very resistant with the mask thing, partly because
At first you were like,
I
oh,
want
yes,
to.
hallelujah.
I still do, right? I love masks. I love sanitizer. I love those glove things that you wear everywhere that you don't have to touch anything because I'm a germaphobe. Since I was a teensy little child, I didn't like gooey stuff. Like I saw it as gooey stuff, anything that people touched. But I think it was a frequency thing, a vibrational thing. But anyways, so I was very happy, and I carried my mask, and Hilaria was like, "You're not wearing that thing." So I know what it means, but it's like I just have always wanted to.
I want to, and finally the world's
I
saying.
know, finally the world is reflecting what I want, And so the other day I did wear one just to go to the store, because it's like very aggressive energy, and my physical body is very sensitive and delicate energetically, and doesn't really want to have aggression against her, right? My physical body.
Right, there's
so I put
that
it
undertone
on,
of it.
and after a little while I was walking around, I had to pull it away from my face. I had a really tough time because I have very weak lungs. I have only 1.5 lungs because I died of pneumonia when I was 7, and Amachi brought me back.
I remember. That's a good story.
Yeah, and I had and then I had asthma. I have asthma also, and for me it's very difficult to get air in and out of my lungs, just generally speaking, like life thing. So it took me 3 days to recover from not being able to breathe properly, and my lungs were full of stuff, and I just couldn't get rid of it. I have a problem every winter with bronchitis. If I catch bronchitis, if I get bronchitis, it takes me months to clear it out because of the same problem. And I'm not asking for you to send healing energies or anything. If you feel that way, don't do it. Because just like any illness, I always look and tell people, how does this serve you? Okay, so to judge or spontaneously send healing to someone who's not asking is very bad mystical etiquette. There's something that serves in this condition. I could go into lots and lots of examples and stories about it, but I'm not going to. This is not the podcast for that. Maybe we can have a healing podcast.
Right.
We can talk about it. But basically, it's the condition and the life that I lead, and this is the way that I know how to lead life. But yeah, it was very uncomfortable for me. So after that, I haven't actually worn any masks while in stores and things. I had one situation in a truck stop in Oregon where the guy opened the door for me, and then he says, "Oh, you have to wear a mask." I said, "No, I don't." He says, "Yes, you do." And he kind of followed me into the store telling me I had to. So I just turned around and, confronted him about it, right? So, but he was really quiet and left after that. I wasn't aggressive. I just, put it into context. And then I went to the bathroom. I lost my phone and we left.
Yeah, the phone's still there.
My phone is still there. But anyways, that was the only conflict I've had. And every other time I've gone to the store, it hasn't been an issue. People still smiley, friendly, everything. It hasn't been an issue at all.
Our last go at Walmart was like that. Mm-hmm. It went fine.
Yeah, but if there is a mask to go to this, I won't do it outside, right? That's ridiculous. It's just not in my car either. No, there's no fear involved. And I think it's past that moment now where if you have a job that you need to keep, and if you have situations or you're traveling or whatever, so you need to go to the store, wear a mask, It's not about the other. It's not about confronting and going to war. That's not the time right now to go to war, us versus them type thing. It's just very visible, right? Very visible. And somebody mentioned there's masks that are pretend masks. You can actually breathe through them really, really well. I would probably wear those because it would make my physical body very comfortable while at the store. I mean, I haven't had any issues at all apart from that one, the truck stop one. But my physical body does feel a little bit uncomfortable walking around among all these people wearing masks in general. I don't know if that was going to fix it or I just stay away from stores because...
Well, it's one of those things. It's like, should we go out and go to the store and go get some groceries? And then there's this big energy of, I don't know if I can deal with it.
I know, yeah. They can
all of the projections of all those 100 or however many people and the many, many opportunities for engagement in a low frequency way. It's like, do I feel like I'm got my ammunition built up high enough so that
Yeah.
these engagements are either not going to come, or if they do come, I'll be able to handle them without. It's like an alcoholic going to the bar.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're going to go
that's
sit at the
true.
bar and have a party, and I don't feel like I'm going to have a drink.
No.
I'll be fine.
Right. You have to be street smart.
You
about
need to
these
be pretty
things.
smart about this
Yeah,
stuff,
you
I
do.
think. So
Yeah.
I can go to the store and I can put a mask around my chin or around my face and walk through the door and then put it around my throat for the rest of the time. Or occasionally you'll go in there and it's populated by the no maskers, and then we could all just have a party with no masks, and there's a few strange maskers who get chased out by this crazy people in the store. And other times everyone's got their mask on, and everywhere you walk they're looking at you at the corner of their eye.
Yeah.
But that's part of the reality when it gets split.
Yeah.
The split means the no mixings are still mixed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the oil and the water are separating.
Right, they are separating.
And the separation process, the division process, right?
Yeah.
Remember with Lemuria, it wasn't pleasant.
No, it was not pleasant. It was not pleasant. So, to give a summarized answer to that question, there is going to be a reality where we no longer literally don't see them physically, but I don't know how that's going to come about or how fast that's going to come about.
There's plenty of recipes.
Yeah, there's lots of recipes, lots of possibilities, and there is the fact that we really need to stop being lone wolves. We really need to step out there and become part of the people and groups and individuals who are building new structures, new work structures, new educational structures, new living structures, new cities. We need to do that. We can't just sit back and wait for it to happen. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
right?
that's a
If
good
you wait,
point.
you're just gonna be by yourself among all these low frequency beings. You just have to do it. It's no
Yeah.
excuse.
No good excuse, really.
No. It's not a passive thing that just happens out there. When people ask me about the split, I like, well, tell me about how your split's coming along, right? And when people say, will we always see those mad people? I say, how are you seeing them, and how much is it affecting you? I can tell you that there's certain things with regards to paying for living on this planet that I have, like, not been able to join, like the workforce, right? 9 to 5 for the rest of my life type thing. Never was able to do that. But there are other things that I can live with. I can energy exchange with money because the pantries of the planet are not open for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And
we do have those pantries on the res.
yeah, we do have pantries on the res. Yeah. If you don't have food, you just go to the food pantry and take it.
Yeah, there's a dozen or two people with little tiny lending libraries, but inside there, instead of books,
There's
it's food, cans
Yeah.
of food and bread and
Yeah.
whatever. And if you're hungry, you got no excuse.
No.
Just go over there, open the thing, and take some food.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That we do have pantries in the res.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to have to exist off of them right now.
No, I thought you meant the food. What's it called?
Food bank?
Yeah, the food bank. Yeah, but
Well,
it's not
there's
the
that
food
too,
bank.
but that's different.
Yeah, it's different because
These are
these
the
are
little
actually literally
people's-
pantries. Yeah,
Little pantries. on
little
the street
pantries in
corner.
the street corners, little waterproof, little
Little
doors,
birdhouses that
little
are about
with doors and
10
stuff.
10 times the size of a birdhouse,
Yeah,
maybe.
with glass.
Enough for 2 bags of groceries, I suppose.
Yeah, and people just leave the groceries there for others to take.
If you want some, if you need some, here it is.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting, spontaneous reality creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm expressing some of that sanity, the sanity that I've seen since I was little, and the insanity that I've seen since I was little in my latest novel, which is called The Return. And I'm releasing the first draft of each chapter as it's written in the Walk With Me Now platform. So if you're interested in those things, join today just for that. Yeah, the sanity and insanity.
I think it's important to say, if you're going to wait around for everything to just go away, you're going to be waiting for a very long time.
Yes, don't wait around. It's not going to happen.
That's not how it's functioned.
No,
That's not
it's
how it
not an
functions.
external event. It's not an internal event. It's actually something you do.
Although, waiting for a little while is fine.
What do you want to wait for?
Well, like Lee gave us a very nice reading.
Oh, the astrology reading
the
by
astrology
Mr.
reading
Lee.
by Mr. Lee. We're going to have to put the link in.
Oh, yeah.
It is perfect.
Yes, so the astrology reading for the next 2 months.
Yep, by Lee.
By Lee.
He's one of our Brides and Grooms,
Yes,
original founding
yeah.
members of
He's
the
one of
Brides and
my,
Grooms, Guild of Gaia.
mentorees. Yeah.
So, yeah, we can use his advice for another few weeks. Or
And
month.
he said it was 17 seconds long.
Yes, it was a 17-second astrology reading.
Yes.
Covers everything you need to know for the next 2 months.
And he said basically forget about everything until December 20 something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything. Just forget about it.
Just forget about it. It's so funny.
It's hilarious.
So yeah, you can wait
Can't
that
wait
long.
for him to do more videos. He's so funny.
He did promise us an
very
update.
extremely wise elder with extremely good humor.
He promised us an update,
Yes.
and he gave us a sample of it
Yeah.
in our call this morning. So with any luck, we'll have a link for his next updated astrology
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah, or maybe we can just
Well, we're going to give him the old one, definitely.
yeah, or maybe his channel so people can subscribe and
Well, if they go to the reading, they will be at his channel.
yes.
The link will be there.
Cool.
I can't
Perfect.
wait. So funny.
Don't forget that our episode notes and links and everything are in our website, podcasts with an S .ineliabenz.com, and the if you link on the different podcasts, you'll get the episode notes with links
Notes are
and
on there on
everything.
your website. So you just go ineliabenz.com, and over where it says broadcasts, under there's podcasts.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's an easy
That's
way
how you
to
get
go.
to there.
Yeah.
And then on there you can see episodes, and you can have all the episodes. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I think
Those are the questions.
those are the questions.
But
But.
one last thing.
Okay.
So I think it's related to the waiting thing and how's the split happening thing.
What?
Is it recording still?
I sure hope so. We better check to see we're still recording. I'm just going to the machine now.
It's a new phone. Yes.
Oh yes, it's
Okay.
oh my gosh, it's nearly an hour.
We're almost over. It's your new phone. We didn't know if it's gonna
Yeah.
do its job. It did it properly. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the, I guess I would call them calling cards of the new paradigm, are stories that bring in the things that you believe the new paradigm will have in it. And one of those things I think of are conscious instant manifestations.
Ooh.
I think the new
yes.
paradigm exists with that.
Yes. Yes.
And so we had a little taste of that squeaking into our reality
It's
just
squeaking
the other
in.
day.
Yeah.
It's just
and
squeaking in.
I think that's maybe would be a fabulous topic to talk about next week.
Next week? Really? You're going to
Yes.
make everybody a week?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Instant
Well,
manifestation.
I bet you $1
It'll
million.
be more. There'll be more stuff and information by then. too.
Okay. Well, I bet you $1 million if people are curious enough, they'll go to Walk With Me Now and figure it out.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can just wait a week.
Yes, you can wait a week, or you can go to What We're Doing Now, because that's where we're going to post it.
So if you were wondering if now is a good time to hit a Walk With Me Now subscription, I think the answer is yes.
Yes, definitely.
We
Because
have-
that's part of the Walk
That's
With Me
part
Now
of it.
thing. So it's not just about my work, it's about learning and, if the information that we find, right? There's external resources part where we share a lot of wisdoms from other individuals there.
Yeah, you learn about it at Walk With Me Now, onto the Telegram groups that we work, talk, share together, all the things,
yeah.
podcasts, everything. It's a community of lone wolves.
Yes.
Quite the funniest thing ever.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll wait till next week. We talk about
Instant manifestation.
the substance you can. Okay, I can't go too far.
Walk with me now.
Walk with me now. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See you. Bye.
I love you, honey.
I love you too, honey.